Hello and a warm welcome. This video shows you how to generate randomized assign questions in Moodle using Excel. Warm welcome. My name is Joe Finsterle. I'm professor of biotechnology at the Rhine-Waal University and as a lecturer often using Moodle quizzes. And you might have already watched the introduction to Moodle quizzes. If not, this makes sense in order to show what is it all about. Here we talk about these Moodle assign type questions, which is not a Moodle type, which is a type I have generated and you can generate with this Excel sheet. So what is it doing? This is the same as you have seen in the primary video, but nevertheless, again, this is how this works. So in very short, what is it all about? As an example, I have here a duck. This is not from my real exams. This is just as a demonstration. And you see that there are a couple of elements depicted and you want the student now to assign the elements. And this is done in this table here. And you say, okay, 4, you see here, this is most likely the hand. So you click here, hand. 6 is the tail. And see, here is the lower part, and as a demonstration, 1 as a B was given, and I check it, and believing or not, I made it. So already setting this up in Moodle would take a while. But the problem with Moodle with respect to randomization is that Moodle can randomize within this here, but it cannot randomize like this, that it just uses some of these excerpts here. And of course, you cannot randomize using different pictures as an example. And this is offered by these Excel helpers. So now just let's have a look in how such an help in Excel could look like. So this is an Excel sheet generating these assign elements stuff. So I'm putting here the text that 1 is the beak, 2 is, for example, the hair, and so on. Additional choices. This I put all here. And then I can generate the output just by clicking Export Moodle-XML. And I have then generated 4 questions. And now let's get these questions into Moodle. Let's go back here. So this is the file which has been generated by just clicking on this button. This is the question bank. And now I can just import into the question bank. I click import, select Moodle XML format, just drag and drop this file, import, and I have generated now 4 questions with this. Here they are. And this is question 1. Preview, and you see here we have selected A7-2 instead of 4-6C. Okay, now we should look in a bit more detail how things are being generated. So this was just a demonstration. Now let's have a look how these things are generated in the Excel sheet. By the way, this is also a video, the first video. It is explaining the Excel sheets and how they work, and this is a bit more pronounced, so therefore I would recommend watching this video first before you go to the other videos, because there I might be a bit quicker with respect to the explanations, and the structure of the other Excel sheets is always similar. So if you understand this one, you will easily also understand the other ones. Okay, so let's just dive in the Excel sheet. So this is what it looks like. And you see that this is the question section here. The question complete is not there in the final document. This is just my complete question in order that I can copy and paste it. So here we go to the intro text and we put first some intro text, and students need to know what to do. What you will see here is some HTML elements. If you're not aware to elements, HTML, this is not absolutely required. However, makes things quite a bit better, because you can then put things in bold. So this B and B, this makes this in bold, and this gives a new paragraph and so on. So this makes things look a bit better. So I would strongly recommend to use at least some basic HTML. And this basic HTML is already included in the examples, so you can use that. But it's not required. So what you need, of course, is a picture. So you need to bring in the picture. So the good news is you can just copy that here if you are not aware how to bring in pictures from another server. This is how you can do it. The problem is that you cannot use Moodle for the pictures. This is a big issue because you cannot refer to the picture freely. So you cannot put an URL and refer to the picture. You remember, you can of course if you set up the question in Moodle, you can do it. But if you import it, this doesn't work. So therefore, we have to find way around, and the way around is that you have to upload the picture to an image server. So I use ImageBB, which is a free image server. So I upload the pictures there, and then I just copy the URL code of the image and put it here. So that's it. So you just need to copy and put it in. Width height might be different for you, so you might adopt it, and that's it. And role presentation class, just keep it. You don't care about that. So then you have your picture. And an assign question, of course, you need a picture, otherwise it makes no sense. For many other questions, this is not an issue. But again, you need to have the picture on an image server, which allows the access of the picture by a URL. And there are not many to do that. Maybe your university has this possibility. Perfect. Ours doesn't at present, so we have to go this way. So again, ImageBB is free. Whether it's the best, I cannot decide. Maybe there are also other ones. Who cares? Just use whatever you want, but you need to have a free access to it. Okay, so this is the intro text. This then states just, please assign the elements, refer to the picture, and displays the picture. And then we start with the assignment. Now, the assignment, of course, just having a look at the duck. We don't look at this type category here and so on at present. We just put in the text. So I would say 1 is the beak, then 2 is the hair, 3 is the neck, 4 are the hands, and 5 is missing. Okay, 6 is the tail, and C is middle part, and C is the lower part. So up to now, of course, I have just the correct response. That doesn't work, so I need to have additional choices which are not correct. So obviously, I would put here for 1 to 7, I would put here everything instead of the beak. So there will be a list without the beak, there will be a list without hair, neck, and so on. Copying it, and you see how it is inserted. You have to separate all entries via a tilde. So all the entries are separated with a tilde. Now I'm getting away because I want to have this ABC. And here we have upper part, middle part, lower part. Now, the question type is like this, that it is randomized. So Moodle will randomize the appearance. So whether hair is at the beginning, back, or whatsoever is randomized. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you would also always have beak at the beginning. Now, here, upper part, middle part, lower part, you would prefer to have always first the upper part, then the middle part, and then the lower part as the responses. Now, this is a different question type. So the default question type is a so-called MCS question. If you want to use that, you don't have to type anything in. If you want to have the same order, and if you don't want to shuffle within the question, it is MC. So we put MC as a question type here. Now, we have to put that in a different way, because if we want to have always the same. So instead of now putting the correct response here, what we do is we write upper part, middle part, and always separated by a tilde, the lower part. So again, this is how Moodle then at the end will separate it. And we copy that. And now the first is upper part is correct. So we put an equal sign. Okay, there of course I don't just put an equal sign. And here middle part is correct. I put an equal sign here. And here lower part is correct. I put an equal sign here. And now I delete this correct. And then it will use this one. If there is nothing here, it will use the complete stuff here. However, you will then need to annotate what is correct. So you just need to add the equal sign. So it's here also described in the hint. So now we have all the possibilities. And now we could say, well, what we want is that the students should have the opportunity to put 3 of these choices and 1 of these choices, for example, or 2 of these choices and 1 of these. In other words, these are different categories. So this is category 1, and this is category 2. This then just allows me that the responses or the questions later on are selected differently. So I say this is one category, this is one category. And I want now to assign that each time the new question is generated, I want to have 3 questions out of here, or sorry, 2 questions out of here and 1 question out of here. Now this I can do there, but before we do that, I want to have an example always there. So what I want to have is an example, and I want to have that always there. So instead of putting a category, I put 0. And then I say this is a text. And now this beak is always included. You will see in a second how that looks. So what we have generated is now a question collection where we have all elements annotated. The element beak is always included because it's category 0, always included. I can also, if I have later another category 0, it's also always included. If I want to make this always included, which is a question, this is also possible. I just put a 0, then it's always included. Now, this is category 1. I have all other elements, and this is category 2. I have these 3 elements. So I want to have now 2 elements out of this and 1 element out of this. So my question is composed then of 3 single questions. Each question contains 3 different single questions. So what I can do now is I go to the generate output sheet. So I don't care about that part here first. I want to go here. I say I want to have 3 questions. And the category 1 should have 2, and the category 2 should have 1. So I just put then here a 1 for the 2, and the category 1 is automatically adjusted to 1. The rest I leave untouched, so I can now say what should the table header be. So it should be element assignment. You can change that also if you want to have a different name here. So again, you will have to play around a bit. Now you can also give a general feedback and a hint. So if you have a repeated essays, you can put that here. You could put a penalty if you have repeated feedbacks. This is how many questions it should generate. Let's be insane and generate 10 questions, which makes not too much sense for this small list. But if you have more complex lists and so on, of course, it's no problem. Just put here 10 or 20 or whatsoever. This is something which is not yet implemented. This will come, promised. And what I want to do in the future is also generate automatically HTML quizzes out of these. This is also something we don't look at that point. And now this is whether I randomize within a table. So whether the table, what comes in the table is also randomized. Wahr is the German true. I could put wahr or wrong, true or wrong. If it's wrong. Let's look how it looks like. Then in this case, of course, always this will be first, then two of these will come, and then one of this will come. We will just check it. And if I put true, then everything is mixed. So this is everything I have to do, everything I have to put in. And then I just click. Now this DAX assign is there, and this is what we have just generated. Now we have 10 questions in this document, and again, it's an XML document. So this is how this looks like, and you see that this document looks quite ugly, but this is how then Moodle can read it. So this is what this code ultimately generates as soon as you click on that. And again, you don't need to care too much about this document. Okay, and now let's go to Moodle and import. So I select import. I say Moodle-XML. Drag and drop here. Import. Here we are. And we have generated 10 questions. Here they are. Continue. And you see now in the question banks, we have the questions. And if I then preview it, I have exactly what I wanted. And you see that now the order is always the same. One is at the start. Let's see. And again, preview. And again, one is at the start. And here we have different elements, 3, 4A. And of course, we can then put and assign and say this is 3 that's the back, neck. I said 4 is all the hands. Here they are. And A is the upper part. Check. Correct. So again, this is the basic how to do this assign without the randomization of the images. This is what you can do. Of course, if it's a more complex picture, you have more options. You can also make more than 2 categories. You can make 5, 6, 7 categories. It depends on how you want. Just experiment around. Again, the risk is low. Just put the export, import it in Moodle, check, and try a bit around. So you will see that this is quite straightforward. Designing such a question in Moodle itself would take quite a bit. So this is maybe also having a look on how this then internally the question looks in Moodle. So this is, we go to edit question. So how does it look in Moodle? So here you see, please assign the elements. The elements refer to a picture of the duck. Here's our duck. And then we have the assignment, and you see within the table, we have this elements inside. It's a cloze question. Again, this is how it's handled. It's worth to have an idea of the cloze structure, because you might see that during the exam, you made an error. For example, you have here neck, and you have at the same time neck appearing again or whatsoever. This is the cool thing about Moodle. Then you can, within the exam, you can then, or not within the exam, if you correct and find this error, you can correct the question and regrade, and then this is corrected. And for the next time, it of course makes sense to correct that in your Excel sheet in order that the next time you don't fall into trouble. So this is how this is generated, and you already see generating the 10 questions like this in by hand in Moodle would be a nightmare. Forget it. Okay. So at present, what I have shown you is a question where you have the same picture and the responses are shuffled. So you can choose from a pool of responses, generating each time a new Moodle question. Okay, to make it less easy to cheat, you would like to have 2 different versions of your duck. So the duck then might look like this. So you have one version, which is the same version as before, where you have here A, B, C, and then you have the numbers. And you have another version where you have here 1, 2, 3, and here you then, for example, have small a, b, c, d, and so on. So this, of course, then is for the students, makes it, if the different things are displayed, copying that is extremely difficult. And I also see that in my exam, it's at the end almost no chance, because with a quick look, it's quite hard, it's almost impossible to find out that this is the same as this, and then this is what you need to choose if you are kind of under time pressure. Okay, so let's look how you can implement that in the Excel sheet. So what you can, or what you do here is, so you have this, of course, first of all, you need to upload each of these images on the image server. Now we go to this random matrix tab, and you put the link to this first and second image here. So this is simply the link where you have uploaded it. Again, you need to use an image server. This is true for all other Excel sheets also. I will not explain that again in the other explanation of the other Excel sheets. This is the same for all. The principle is the same. So you put here the image link. You put simply the annotation down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is missing. I forgot that for whatever reason. 6, 7, A, B, C. And you see that for the bird 2, 1 corresponds to A, 2 corresponds to B, and so on. So what you do here is you have here, you just count down. This is just the numbers. Then you have 1, the assignment of the first, and then the corresponding assignment of the other. So 1 corresponds to small a here, 4 corresponds to small d here. This you need to assign. Of course, you can make then different ducks where you have then other large a or whatsoever. So usually I generate 3 pictures. I usually do that in Illustrator, and then things are quite easy to generate. This might take a bit to generate these pictures. Again, if you start with your with your Moodle-Excel adventure, maybe it's not a good idea to start already right away with 500 different pictures and so on. Start simple. I would not do that at the very first beginning. Try one version, and then you can try with other versions later. But you can, of course, then generate more of these versions. You simply have to assign in this matrix what corresponds to what. Now, of course, you cannot just put 1, 2, 3, because the software needs to put then the corresponding number or symbol each time it uses the different picture. And this is done if, very simple, you'd have 2 hashtags followed by the number. So 1 corresponds to 1 here. And this is then replaced if this is taken with a 1, if this picture is taken with an A. And you have to end with a semicolon. So this is the code how this is giving. Hashtag, number, semicolon. Of course, in the text, as soon as this appears in the real text, we would have a problem, but usually two hashtags after are not normal. Yeah. So then this is put, then we have the beak. Here we have then the 8, and the 8 is this one here. This is then A, or in the other case, it's a 1. Be aware that here it needs to be put in as text. Okay, you can put also the correct response with the numbers. You can mix. You can also say whatever the text. You can add something nice from duck makes happy. The table would not look very nice now, but this is, you can do that. So you just need to put that inside here. What you also need to do is that the image link then is referred to like this. The image link needs to be referred to like this. You see that this is then this image link here. Yeah, this is how you put that in. And you can also put in the alt, the name of the file. This helps because then if it's not displayed, if the image server is down, you know what image version is displayed here, and you might be able to rescue that. You also can say, please assign the elements, and you can also say, for example, as an example, C element 1. Yeah, so this is always taken. So this is then can also be depicted here. Okay, so this you do here. And then in the so this of course doesn't, this is a sign, so it doesn't read very nice because you have always replacements here. You will see later on if you go to multiple responses and so on, the texts are a bit more neat if you have then this different option. Then in the output, what is important, everything else remains the same. However, we have now these substitute values, and instead of a 0 here, before we had a 0, we put 2 because we have 2 different substitute values. And again, now let's generate 6 questions, and we again export that to Moodle. Export Moodle. And in the folder we want to have, now nothing is there. It's being synchronized, and now everything is fine. Now we have it, and now let's go. And now let's go to Moodle. First of all, we delete all these. Now deleting is not such a pain anymore because you can generate these questions in a second. Otherwise, deleting 10 Moodle questions would be a nightmare. Okay, so again, import Moodle-XML, my new DocuSign, and I am importing. Here we are. We have now 6 questions. And let's preview. By the way, we also randomize now the order in the table. You see that in this figure, it uses the normal version. Again, it's randomized, and therefore I don't know which version it's using in the next one. So this is the other one. Okay, so here we have the other version. So we have the 1, 2, 3, A, B, and you see that now the element is F, 2, and B. And you also see nice from duck makes happy, so that's not very nice. As an example, see element A, so this also has been integrated. This is what we have added. So this is how you can do it. I am aware that at the beginning, the first time you see that, things look a bit complicated, but at the end, just use these Excel macros. So I assume that you have some knowledge in Excel, you have some knowledge in Moodle. Use that 2 or 3 times, and it works at the very beginning. Looks a bit complicated, but I think the most important thing is play around, and after a couple of usages, everything is fine. Now, what is if you see that there is a bug or whatsoever? Please go to GitHub, and then you just tell about the bug. You can do an request, and then we can see. Of course, this is not my job, so therefore it's not my job to program VBA macros. So I cannot promise, but of course, if something is going wrong, this might also be an issue for me. So therefore, I will check that if there are issues, and I will see whether I can solve it. Now this is the starting point, the assign, the easiest way. So have fun, and don't forget to check out the other more sophisticated question types. And again, I would go for the calculation to the end. I would first watch the cloze before the calculation, but this is just a recommendation. You're free to do whatever you want. So thanks a lot for your attention. Have fun. And of course, I'm looking forward, if you have a feedback and so on, please write it down into the comments. Thanks a lot. Bye.